Hey everyone, welcome to another Sandia Mountain Natural History Center quick trip. The plan today was to come up to Heron Lake State Park, take the kayak out across the lake, and do some remote camping on the other side of the lake. But once again, the drought has reared its ugly head and gotten the best of us. It doesn't look like that's going to be possible. So we're going to make the best of it. The biggest problem was I was planning on doing some tarp camping, just using a tarp and a bug net to stay as lightweight as possible. So camping in the regular campground of Heron Lake has left me without a shelter. But luckily I have the truck here, so I was able to rig up my tarp and bug net and use the back of the truck as a nice little shelter. So we're not going to get to do the kayaking trip, but trust me, we'll see some neat stuff. People may not realize this, but Heron Lake is one of the main reservoirs for drinking water for both Santa Fe and Albuquerque. But the way that the water gets here is pretty incredible. Heron Lake is the reservoir for the San Juan Chama River Diversion Project. So believe it or not, people in Albuquerque and Santa Fe are drinking water from the San Juan River. And you may say, well, how's that possible? Because the San Juan drains into the Colorado River. Unless you build tunnels and diversions to bring it actually across the Continental Divide and put it into the Rio Grande. Then it flows down to Santa Fe and Albuquerque. It's pretty amazing. Miles and miles worth of tunnels bring this water from the San Juan River over into Heron Lake.
Not surprisingly, it was a little bit windy at Heron Lake, and that got the better of our microphone. But what I was saying is this plant is called tamarisk or salt cedar, and it's a really bad plant here in New Mexico because it sucks up a tremendous amount of water. It was brought here as an ornamental or as a windbreak from the Middle East, and a lot of people like it because it has pretty purple flowers. But it's actually caused a great deal of harm because it drinks up a lot of water along our waterways and lakes like we can see here. If anybody has any idea what these odd rock structures are, I'd love to hear it in the comments. There were several of them, and they were kind of linear, but they were clearly natural. They were not man-made, but you can see they kind of go out in a row along this ridge. I'm stumped by this one. Here's a closer up view of our mystery rocks. Here we can see both the short and long-term effects of the drought. The long-term effects would be this green area that is normally covered in water. And even in the shorter term, you can see this 15 to 20 foot band around the lake is where the water had been just recently. But we've been about 75 days without any rain, and this is the effect. The moment you've all been waiting for, some scat. This is a little bit of elk scat. I wasn't lucky enough to see any elk, but they are clearly here.